Aloha everyone. So one of the biggest questions when it comes to the cleanup and rebuilding process in Lahaina after the fire is, where will the ash and debris be moved to? There's an estimated 400,000 tons of debris that needs to be cleaned up and relocated, which will require tens of thousands of truckloads. So now that the removal of hazardous materials has been completed by the EPA, which was considered phase 1 of the project, it's now time to move on to phase 2, which is the removal, transfer, and storage of the remaining ash and debris. This is estimated to take the better part of 2024, and it's the responsibility of the County of Maui, who will be assisted by the U.S. Army Corps of Engineers. Now, I found a very informative video from the County of Maui where the Director of Environmental Management, his name is Shayne Agawa, he explains the location where they'll be moving the ash and debris, how they chose that location, how it will be transported, and how it will be monitored in the future. Let's take a look at the presentation portion of that video.
Morning, everybody. I can just start off by saying, well, first myself is Shayne Agawa, as I was mentioned, Director of Environmental Management. My style is more of just a talk story kind of session, not real official. So anyway, we're here to talk about the Lahaina Wildfire Disposition Project that we're working on. As we all know, August 8th happened, and it was determined that there is about 400,000 tons of debris from that fire that's laying out there in the Lahaina right now. The way I look at it is, we all know somebody that lives in Lahaina. We either related to them, friends with them, grew up with them. And for public health and safety, for their safety, our friends, our family, we need to get that debris into a contained, safe site. I gotta say, Mother Nature has been very gracious to us so far. It has been a concern that when the big rains come, what's gonna happen? We all gotta think about that. We're kind of disconnected a little bit living in Olowalu. I live right down the road. I know a lot of you, a lot of familiar faces, but we're still part of West Maui. Our friends and family, like I said, in West Maui, they're suffering. They want to rebuild. They want to get back. So to that, we did need to look at a place to put this debris. We looked at all different places all over the island. In the early onset, we did entertain the idea of shipping the debris off island. However, for various reasons, that was not going to be able to happen. The main reason was that we got denied by FEMA. The other reason is we started to hear from the community that lost loved ones that the remains are in that ash. It's not only in the footprint with the winds, it's mixed with all the different debris, the one in the road. The other thing that we didn't realize early on that we realize now is there were a lot of churches that had ash in urns and that type of thing that were destroyed in the fire. So even the ash of past people, families, and friends, not just from the disaster, it's all commingled in that debris. And the message we got from the Lahaina community was they wanted to keep it, 1, intact, 2, close to Lahaina, and they don't want it mixed with trash. So the other option that we looked at was having it taken to Central Maui landfill. However, for those of you that do not know, we do have airspace issues at Central Maui landfill. The volume there is growing faster than we expected. So if the debris from Lahaina were to go to Central Maui, it will need to be mingled with municipal solid waste. So getting back to this debris site, I'll give you a brief overview. I have some slides to show you some pictures. First of all, there's different phases of the project in debris removal. I'm sure you guys heard of this already. So phase 1 is the removal of hazardous materials, which EPA is, I think, on the tail end of that. So most of the hazard materials from the debris site has been taken to a staging area at Ukumehame and being shipped off island. Now, part of phase 2 is the actual debris removal, which comes under Army Corps. So under phase 2, there's what they call, I believe, phase 1A. So this is actually doing a site assessment again and catching any other hazardous material that are on property that EPA didn't get through, whether it's something falling over and they couldn't see it. So further hazardous waste is going to be taken off island. That's going to be shipped off island. Yeah, I hope all of you can see this. It's not that high. But this, first of all, we did also have a disaster and a fire up in Kula. So this is just to show you that the Kula and Olinda debris is currently going to Central Maui landfill. Now that did not have HR or human remains. There were no fatalities in that fire. Lahaina debris, we're looking at this West Maui site in Oluwalu. It's located next to our closed landfill. We have a current transfer station that's in operation that the trash is hauled to Central Maui. The closed landfill is on the I want to say the Lahaina town side, and this location will be on the northern side. So as I mentioned, if you can look at this map, first, let me go back a little bit. The land that we're looking at is actually state-owned property, and thanks to Daniel Ornelas and his team and the state, they were gracious enough to work with us, and they understood the need of a place that could accept this Lahaina debris. So as you folks know, I think on October 27 was the BLNR meeting. So that meeting was basically for the transfer of the rights to use state property for county use, and that's what you see here is the TMK. It's about 53 acres or so. That's the whole parcel that the state transferred over to us. That's still pending council approval. Now what you see here in the green, that is called a temporary debris storage site, a TDS site. That is going to be designed, constructed, and operated by the Army Corps and their contractor. Again, the key word is temporary. It's going to be a place that debris coming from Lahaina will be stored. It'll be lined. And then later, this blue area is actually our project, a county project, our proposed project for the final disposition site for the debris. Again, this is the old closed dump. This here is an active cinder pit. It has been mined up until, I believe, maybe a week or so ago from Hawaiian Cement. This is the access road, or I cannot see, but there's the access road off of the highway, and the transfer station is here. So this area right here is about 14 plus or minus acres. This will be the proposed final disposition site of the debris. This area here, I believe, is about 9 acres. This is temporary and will no longer be there. This is only to hold the debris temporarily while this is being constructed, and then the debris will be moved from the green to the blue. This will go away, and then this will be the final site. Okay, little bit complicated, but this is a cutaway portion. So if you imagine this disposal site as like a bowl, right? It's a hole in the ground. It's been mined for the cinder. If you cut that bowl in half and you look at it at the side, this is what we're proposing to construct out there. This is a double liner system. When we say liner, it's a HDPE material. It's a black heavy gauge plastic, which you see here. These green circles, it's a drainage and monitoring system for leachate. What leachate is a liquid byproduct that comes from debris, trash, whatnot. It's common at municipal solid waste sites because of the debris breaking down. However, in this location, the composition of the debris that we expect to come in is very dry. It's ash. Little bit of soil tack on it, little bit of water for dust control, but it's fairly dry material. There's not going to be any larger pieces. The steel, the concrete, if you go out there, that's basically the two materials that are left out there. Those will be all repurposed, or as much as possible be recycled. So the majority of the debris that's coming in through will be ash and smaller particles. When I say double liner, most standard waste disposal sites have a single liner. We are designing this to have a double liner, so dual redundant HDPE liner, dual redundant monitoring and leachate system. The sides are at a slope that is workable to be constructed. I believe it's going to be 1-to-1. And again, sorry, I'm not the expert on this, and we have the experts to answer a lot of your questions later. Right here under the double liner, this gray area, It's called low permeability soil. It has to be a special type of soil per federal regulations. It's a clay type of soil that is pretty resistant to percolation. So it's just another barrier to stop any leachate from getting through. As I said, there's monitoring as well. So here, this yellow thing here is a gas monitoring well. We also have to monitor the groundwater. So here in this blue line, it's a groundwater monitoring. And the groundwater monitoring basically is a well that we drill upstream, downstream of the groundwater flow. So we know the composition of the water coming into the site, and we know any composition coming out of the site. That's our way of seeing if there's anything from the site that has entered into the groundwater system. Now this last slide is basically an explanation of how the ash is transported, how it's handled. It's not just taking the ash with big equipment and then scooping it into a truck and then hauling it out here. We're doing everything with respect to environmental safety, public health and safety. So one of the major concerns was the ash flying out of the truck. So we call it a burrito wrap type of system. What they do is they line the trucks up. You can see here, might be hard to see, with a plastic sheeting. It's like let's say a square tortilla. The debris is put into the truck. After the debris is there, it's folded up. It's sealed with an adhesive so particles cannot get out. A final tarp is then put over, and then the truck is hauled out to the site. Constant water misting of the site, either by a mister like that or somebody with a hose. And then these are air quality monitoring stations. This is a stationary station. I've seen this in Kula with my own eyes. This is a handheld. So for the safety of the workers in the community, these air quality monitors will be placed around the perimeter of the site. All the workers that's in the footprint of the work area will have an air quality monitor on them. So if any alarms goes off, it gives an indication that the air may not be safe because of wind direction or what. The public will be notified at that time as well. And just a couple other things that we thought about when we were looking at this site. So 400,000 tons of debris in Lahaina is tens of thousands of truckloads. Having it go into Central Maui, concerns about people getting hurt, accidents. If a truck hits anything on the way, the debris spills out, pollutes the ocean. The whale season is coming up. You're going to have a lot of people parking on the side on the poly, crossing over. Those are just some of the additional concerns that we looked at. We did do a lot of due diligence to find a proper site that we feel is the most safe and the most environmentally friendly and appeals to the need of the Lahaina community.
So I don't know about you, but I think Shayne did a great job of explaining everything. I can't imagine how incredibly difficult it must be to present this to the people in the community of Olowalu. From here, the mayor of Maui, Richard Bisson, shared his thoughts on the subject. Let's take a look at what he had to say.
I just wanted to address a couple of things that occurred to me while Shayne was presenting. And that first is, what happens if we don't do this? If we don't do this, then Mother Nature will decide for us where all the ash in Lahaina goes. Whether it goes to our drains, our sewers, our ocean. So we are at there's a sense of urgency that I wanted to get across to all of us here and those that we've been talking to already. As Shayne said, we've mostly been lucky that the winds and the rains have not decided this for us already. So if we intervene and put it someplace where we can control, that's our best option for our island. You also heard Shayne talk about some debris that is being removed. Those that were considered the toxic and hazards, these were lithium batteries, these were other items that were still remnants from the fire. The EPA is required to take that off island. And any location that this would have happened at, in the mainland or anywhere else, they would have had to remove that, and they have storage facilities for that. The second phase, where we're at now, where it's the ash and debris, we're responsible for disposing of that. The municipality, the county. I suppose we could say the state, but it mostly falls on the county. The Kula situation, we were cleared by the Department of Health and EPA to use our landfill there. We didn't have some of the issues that Shayne already brought up to you that is different for Lahaina. That area is taking up space we would have normally used for our our trash and our normal solid waste disposal. But again, we don't have an option. The other thing was to drive it from there to Olowalu, which is the same issues we have taken it in the other direction except in reverse. It's 25 miles versus 3 miles or 5 miles out. So the risk is less. The speed with which we can do this is quicker. The volume that can be done. And again, the difference is the type of landfill or disposal site. I won't call this a landfill because it's not a landfill. This is not a landfill. This is a final resting place for some folks. But in this issue, we have exceeded the requirements that is being done up in Central Maui. I don't know if somebody's going to speak to that. Was it subtitle C, D? Is it a C and a D? So C is the greater one? Okay. So subtitle D, for those of you who are maybe engineers or know this stuff, is the typical landfill situation that you would have if you were putting certain debris. We have decided in a very spirited discussion at my office that this will be a C, a class C level of debris, which is the highest it can be made. It's the safest or the highest standard you can make something to. So no matter what's in the debris, it qualifies for this level of disposal site. So I just wanted to emphasize that because I'm sure everybody else can give you more of the X's and the O's, but those are a couple of things that occurred to me. And feel free to ask us all your good questions.
So after the mayor shared his comments, the video goes into a question and answer portion of the meeting where Olowalu residents voice their opinions. The entire video is almost 2 hours, so I won't share the whole video here, but I will share a link to the entire video in the description below. As always, thanks for watching. Please share this video with anyone who is interested in updates on the progress being made in Lahaina's recovery. And feel free to comment any of your thoughts on the topic. Also, if you appreciate the time and effort it takes to put these videos together, please smash that like button, and we'll see you on the next video. Aloha.